Hi everyone, this is Sky, and welcome to yet another video during this incredible month of April, this incredible Aries season. I am posting more than usual, so if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you're returning, welcome back. I'm so happy to see you. I hope that you are surviving this time well, and happy to see some of the things coming into your life as well, because I think that a lot of us, what I'm feeling with the energy coming in right now, we're all seeing new things. We're all seeing the entrance of new possibilities, new modalities of being, new modalities of who we are, which is bringing up a lot of questions that, need answered. So a lot of us are, really stepping into a place where we are attempting to answer some of these new questions that have come in. So here we are. On April the 7th, we are having an incredible full moon in Libra. It's called the super pink moon, or I'm calling it that. It is a pink moon, and I'm calling it the super pink moon because it's also a super moon, and it is a full moon in Libra, which is a very nice, comforting, and just easygoing type of energy coming in. It's sort of like weighing the balance. It's like finally being able to exhale, finally being able to relax into something. It's like an adjustment period as well. So for example, when we have a supermoon, of course it is a full moon, and it's like brighter than usual. So the experiences related to the sign that the moon is occupying, which in this case is Libra, become more bright and become more unavoidable as well. On one hand, I feel this to be optimistic, but I also think that it's going to be very illuminating. So the full moon in Libra, this time of the year, it happens this time of the year every year, obviously opposite the sun in Aries, is all about the exposure of polarities and the exposure of certain volatilities. On the Libra-Aries axis in astrology, we find polarity, and we find volatility, and crossroads energy. Also, if an individual has a lot of Libra-Aries aspects in their chart, depending on how that is configured, it can indicate bipolarity. So one thing collectively that we are looking toward during this super pink moon, during this oncoming month, but especially the week of about April 7th to April 14th, we are looking to see how we're a bit volatile or polarized about certain aspects of our lives. So I think that is going to be a really nice gift from the universe to be able to see really clearly that there's some amount, perhaps, of delusion in some of these dreams that I have, or there's some amount of volatility in the dependencies or reliances that I've built, which have become so strong in my life. I think that all of the figures in our lives, the fixtures in our lives, will be up for reestablishment or being thought about differently during this time. There's also kind of a bit of just a choiceful nature that comes in here. It's almost like window shopping. I feel like that's what I see is the image in my mind is sort of like a window shopping, which we can't obviously do right now with the social distancing. But I think that a lot of people are kind of looking at new ideas for their lives. We come back, it's like we've had this very strong conclusive end to society as it once was, and that's so mirrored in the astrological configurations that were happening. As y'all know, if you were following my channel, we went around the time of March 21st from that old ancient energy of 12 Pisces. It was also a pig year. We had a reestablishment of the Western and Eastern systems simultaneously into a one, which is a complete new rebirth, and here we are mirroring that societally, and things will not go back to the way that they were. That's just easy to say. That's kind of, if you have any type of astrological, intelligence, you kind of know that that's a bit of a duh analysis. Things will not go back to the way that they were. This is a complete overhaul that we're going through. And I think that as we are all coming back and we are all receding inwards, we're all thinking about, do I want to go back to where I was before this? Do I want those same situations to be back? Some of us do. But a lot of us may have actually seen a lot of backhanded fortune, or a lot of establishment of a status quo that could be, what could be, what could my energy do better? than where I was before? What am I more suited toward? It's like that knowledge kind of starts to come in here. And despite maybe not having enough, or despite feeling shorted or lacking in social stimulus, there's this like understanding that comes in. And as it's coming up in the super pink moon energy, there's a comfort in that, and there's a hope in that. Because what I feel more than anything about the super pink moon, full moon in Libra, I feel that it is a hopeful energy. I feel that it's helpful, hopeful, and faithful as well. I also think, to be a little bit more mundane, that there are going to be, interestingly, people finally meeting their soulmate here. Finally meeting that romantic connection that they never had before. It's almost like two completely opposite ends finally connecting together, connecting perfectly in harmony. It's not like a square peg in a round hole. It's not incompatible. The potential for compatibility is very strong during this time. And this is not just with relationships. Okay, I love this message. This is not just with relationships. This is with, like, how am I going to place myself? I'm getting chills so much, you guys. How am I going to place myself? What have I always needed? You know, there can be like this aha moment, like the angels sing, you're snapping your fingers, you know, you're getting all of these synchronicities, lights going off, your neighbor's lights going off and on or something. You're like looking outside of your house, you're walking and there are all of these lights. I don't know, that's just what I see. And what you see in that is like, whoa, I've been trying so hard to turn something into something that it was never meant to be. I've been trying so hard to save. I've been trying so hard to live up to some kind of economical standard that was broken to begin with. And now that is nothing. And due to that being nothing, I'm not trying to live up to something that's not real. And I can see what I actually needed. So what we can see here as a hypothetical is the person who maybe owned like a lot of resources or assets finally thinking, okay, my focus is not going to be on that. My focus is I'm actually going to go off somewhere and go on sort of a fool's journey and heal my body. No longer am I just wanting to make money. No longer am I just wanting to, you know, create a profit or create some type of revenue system. There's something about revenue systems too coming up for a lot of people, because as we know, as we've seen in the news and the headlines and everything, the main disparity for whatever reason with this health crisis is not people dying, it's like the economic loss, which just shocks me. It shocks me because like people dying is way worse than getting a negative return on your stock investment. Like, come on, people. But I know it's not everybody. But yeah, the economic losses have it has a lot of effect on us. It has, you know, that affects us. Like, it is real. But this is also a blessing in disguise. This is also a backhanded fortune. I have an astrologer friend who talks about Jupiter and Capricorn being like the theme of backhanded fortune, and I just love that. I think that is so accurate for what the energy of Jupiter and Capricorn is. Through what we lose here, through the money that we lose, or through the jobs that we lose, or through the social connection that we lose, we find what we were hiding from ourselves all along. Backhanded fortune. It's like boggling my mind how many opportunities are coming in here for that. And it's so happy. Again, super pink moon in Libra. This is a happy energy. This is a compatible energy. This is a key fitting into a lock. This is the sudden blessing bestowed by the universe onto the individual. Again, moon collectively, it's like collective people, but through that we see the individual, fourth house, Libra, and then it's like Libra energy, Venus energy put onto that, loving the self-love increasing while getting these aha moments, bestowing of blessings, and simultaneously we have a few problem areas. So on Tuesday, I'm going to make a video about having had Jupiter and Pluto conjunct and then also Mars and Saturn conjunct. We're having these things simultaneously. So on one hand, yes, we have this really beautiful, connective, compatible, hopeful energy of full moon in Libra coming in. Also, we have some malefic difficulties coming up. So yeah, there are people dying, you know. And this is hard. This is hard for the psyche to process. And okay, so I will give people this. I will give the collective this. It's a difficult processing time because we're all actually getting a lot of blessings from this. And that's what's so crazy. That's what's so crazy about this time is a lot of individuals through this terrible adversity and chaotic situation are getting a lot of blessings, yet there is a large amount of sickness, pain, and suffering. I'm not going to go into that. There are a few things that the nature of duality in the current paradigm have to do with that I actually don't really want to talk about here on YouTube. But nonetheless, we are in a state of duality. So in order to be so blessed, there has to be a certain amount of adversity and suffering. And I hope that this shifts soon enough. Again, that's not super favorable. It's like kind of sad. It's very sad that people have to sacrifice parts of their own collective psychically in order to allow themselves some amount of relief, respite, and hope for the future. That's a big problem, and that's a big crisis of humanity right now. And it deals with duality, and that's another video for another day. But full moon in Libra, the scales, it's a duality sign, okay? Libra is a sign of duality. Libra, and then all the mutable signs as well. It's really tough to see, and there is an amount of like intelligence that we have to kind of embrace with this moon too. It's going to kind of illuminate what we need to do to get through this time of health crisis. Maybe the treatments will be discovered, or I'm hoping that the scientists will discover, some kind of vaccine or cure. I'm not sure that will ever happen for this in a completely successful way, but the conclusion is still not reached. Like, that's not a total thing, but I get a bit of a gut feeling that it's gonna be a little bit hard maybe to find the cure, but hopefully there are efforts towards it. I could see that progress towards that is happening during this full moon, but I doubt that we'll expect that to be complete very soon at all. But progress is better than nothing. And anyway, as I was talking about a moment ago, how do we process psychically seeing such positivity in our lives through the guise of such adversity? It does kind of build up the fact that our collective also, when it's, quote unquote, functioning at a high level like it quote unquote was before this health crisis, it does show that in order for that amount of prosperity to be possible, it also required some amount of self-denial, self-imprisonment, self-conviction. I'm not going to focus on my health. I'm not going to focus on, my family. I'm not going to focus on my true dreams. I'm going to focus on making money. I'm going to focus on prospering. I'm going to focus on supporting the economy. I'm going to focus on being that successful person and sacrifice all of my time away to that and lose track of who I am. That's not good either, okay? And that's the crazy thing about this chaos that we might all be catching on to, this crisis, is that, whoa, all of a sudden, I'm focusing on the things that really matter to me because I actually have time again. And this is what's so crazy with the Saturn having just moved into Aquarius, but it will retrograde back into Capricorn. The finale of Saturn in Capricorn, really, the planet of time in its home sign of time. It's difficult. And over the last 2 years, maybe we really did a lot of inappropriate things with our time. And now we see a gift of time through adversity and through challenges, just to understand what's right for us. It's actually a great blessing through the guise of something very tragic, because the thing is we never had to do it. We never had to focus so much on prosperity and sell off all aspects of ourselves to gain prosperity and support an economy that is not self-sufficient in any way. And we never had to do that. And that's sort of the irony of this Saturn moving into Aquarius, getting a lot more about collectives, a lot more about groups of people versus like resources or real tangible things. That's the irony, is it never took a health crisis for this to happen. It never took being forced in the house and unable to spend money to choose these choices. Because that's the thing, is like, some of us get really contracted out, and we get really, we sign a lot of contracts, we owe a lot of people different things, so we have to work for a living, and we have to pay those bills and all of that. But to a degree, I feel that that's some amount of a hoax to a degree, and this is kind of controversial to talk about, because I'm a money person myself. I've always been interested in finance. I'm not saying that money is all bad. But yeah, it's all of a sudden we're seeing, well, I survive regardless of whether money is there or not. Some degree of money is pointless. I will say that I've learned that recently. And it's like it takes a situation like this to really see that. And again, I'm not here to tell you that you should think money is or isn't pointless. But I'm just saying that there are other things in life too. And this time is really elucidating that. And I do think that that's magical. And again, just as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that people shouldn't pay their bills. We have to. Again, Saturn energy, it's all about bill paying and being and having resources, and money is still very much obviously going to be a part of our day-to-day lives, but we can't get 100% invested in money. We can't let our lives become enslaved to money. And I feel that was really what was happening. And I feel like, and I just realized, even just like from my own experience and seeing what has changed just over the last month, is that we kind of let ourselves get enslaved to money because we really think that that is the only thing that empowers us in life or gives us any amount of freedom. And it did, and it does, and it will to some degree. But I will say that we put ourselves into a bit of a hoax with that too. Because again, you look at anybody who's gotten insane amounts of wealth and they're like, it was never what I thought it was. It was never as empowering as I thought it was. People get very miserable when they get too much of anything, whether it's money or virus. When you get too much of it, it becomes a big, big danger, threat to yourself. So we hoard. So yeah, here's another thing about Super Pink Moon and Libra. We're getting into our hoarding mentality. Did I want to hoard money? Did I want to hoard viruses? Is my body and my psychology been taught to hoard, to take, to keep, to hold on to fear that I won't have enough in the future, so I hold on to everything. I amass as much as possible, and the entirety of my life force becomes about consuming. That is like a really unfortunate. And again, it's like a time like this with a health crisis where we think, wait, I have to let go of things sometimes. If I get this virus, I've got to be able to let go of that. I can't hoard this virus. I can't hold on to this virus. That's what kills me. And I feel like that's why a virus came out, and I feel like that's the sort of karmic lesson of this time, and why it was a virus. And why it wasn't like like a war or like famine or some type of like something that gave the same type of results as this virus will give, just with a different face. I feel that it was a virus and an illness because we've trained and programmed ourselves to hold on to things and to not let go of things. Like a virus, we've trained ourselves to consume, dominate, take, secure, like a virus. Humanity has become a virus to the earth in reality, and that's why the earth generates a virus to fight back, and if the planet wanted to, it can completely wipe out the human race. And I want to put that out there for people. Like, humans take a lot of like greed and ego and almost like pleasure in understanding that they're like survival instinct. Like, humans will survive no matter what. My country will survive no matter what. My family will survive no matter what. We will destroy all before we go down. That is an insanity. That's like it's a problem with the human mentality. And survival is important. We have those survival instincts for a reason, but we are nothing in comparison to the power of our planet, and in comparison to the means and resources that humans have only so barely tapped the like 0.0001% of Earth's resources. We are still so unaware of what this planet even has. We find ourselves so like intelligent, and we're like, oh, we know it all. We know how to energize. We know how to get it. And we know very little. Okay, we still got another 14,000 years to go. That's just the number that comes into my mind before we even really start to tap it, if we can survive that long. So, it's... what do we know? What do humans know? I think it's such a great time to just kind of release from like the I know everything mentality, the I know everything, I need everything, give me everything. If you don't give it to me, I will devour it. That's a viral type of mentality. Again, when a virus goes into a body, when a virus finds a host, that's exactly how it acts. That's exactly what it does. It says, I will consume it all. I will sap the life of this host to preserve myself, and then once it's dead, I'll find a new host. That's a viral mentality. That's the way that humans act toward the earth. That's why we have a virus like this. Again, this is philosophical. This isn't medical. This isn't medical advice. This isn't scientific advice. Disclaimer. This is just a philosophical opinion of mine about why humanity has found itself here. And we've got a lot of waking up to do. And full Super Pink Moon in Libra as a transit in the week of April 7th, but going probably till about May 7th. It's a big wake-up call for some people. Again, all the air signs are always wake-up calls. They're always kind of like unavoidable facts or unavoidable truths that are not sugar-coated or really emotional. It's just kind of like, humans are acting like viruses, and now humans are getting introduced to a virus and seeing what that's like. Like, that's just kind of like the fact. And there's a compatibility and a backhanded fortune and a blessing within that. And a lot of humans, because again, it's not that all humans are bad. It's not that all of humanity, all of the collective is thinking, yeah, I'm just going to consume everything. But it's been sort of, I think, an unconscious trait or status of most of the collective. And I think many of us individuals on the microcosm are waking up to that and pulling back. Yeah, social distancing, making sure that I'm not breathing in other people's faces or breathing up other people's airs, maybe wearing a mask. There are other people who think that wearing masks is really bad. I don't find a problem with that. I can't see a problem with that, actually. I think again, they're not available everywhere. And maybe the medical places need them. I'm not saying to hoard masks, but I don't see any problem with that. I think that we need to do everything that we can to not be so selfish and to not be so entitled to other people's resources. So yeah, maybe not great to buy up every roll of toilet paper. Maybe leave some on the rack for other people. We've got to, because I think that there's a balance. That's what full moon in Libra is all about. We can get enough for ourselves, and on one hand, not say, okay, I'm not going to give myself enough. I'm only going to buy, I don't know, this one small bag of rice instead of the larger bag of rice because I'm afraid that somebody else needs the rice. It's okay to buy the big bag of rice. Just don't buy the entire shelf of rice, There's a middle ground where each of us can have enough without taking from what is needed by others and shorting ourselves. And that's what the full moon in Libra is going to teach us. So as another more mundane message, to move further into it, this moon is going to really teach us a lot about what we need in our body, okay? What we need to consume. It's a lot about consumption. What portions of things that we need, how much we need to buy, how much we need to spend, all the numbers, and really this is for the full month of April. All of the numbers will start to become more obvious, all of the portions. I think that we're wasting a lot less. So this is really interesting with full moon in Libra. We are wasting way, way less things. Have you noticed that? So for example, guys, I had this what do you call it? It's like a thing of lotion. It's big. It's probably 10 ounces or something. I don't know how many ounces it is, but it's a big thing of lotion. It lasted me forever. And what I found, I think I had bought it probably a few months ago, and there was so much more inside of it than I realized. I would always buy this same thing of lotion and I would dispose of it thinking that I had used it all, but actually it had a lot left in it and it lasted way longer than I thought. And I think that this has kind of happened to everybody as we realize that there is a lot more contents to things than we think. We are wasting way too much. We're maybe not getting all the toothpaste out, not getting all the lotion out, not getting all the soap out. And throwing away a lot of perfectly good things. And that's another reason why this virus has happened, is because we're disposing of too much and again, consuming too much. And that's viral. Again, that's a viral way to live. That's a parasitic way to live. That's exactly what viruses and parasites do. And that's why they can't overtake and that's why they can't dominate, is because they also don't process what they consume well. There's an insatiability about it. Again, it's like if you drink 2 gallons of water at once, you're not going to get any of that hydration. It's just going to go straight to your bladder and come out. That's how viruses and parasites act too. They devour quickly and they can't survive long still yet because they don't process a lot of what they get. So humans have to learn how to be humans, not viruses or parasites, because it's really easy for a species like humans to just become parasites of the earth. And there's a lot of research and studies that talk about how certain parasites can actually be very helpful to your immunity. So if you get a parasite, there are certain studies that say that actually can cure certain autoimmune diseases like, Hashimoto's or multiple sclerosis. There are studies like that. And I'm not sure about that, but I think that it makes sense because there are some times where we get so full of toxins, or maybe where a planet gets so full of toxins that it needs to have a subspecies to consume those toxins to create more health. That's possible, but there's some amount of a responsibility within those types of species to let go. So again, this is me thinking very deeply about things. I know that this is a little bit out there, but it's just what I feel. We have to, as humans, I think one of our biggest responsibilities is to consume responsibly. And because the moment that we become viruses or the moment that we become parasites of the planet, that's when a lot of antibodies start being released viruses, maybe viruses are just like the Earth's antibodies to get some troublesome parasites or viruses out. I don't know. That's when antibodies start being released. That's when, different viruses start to fight each other because, yeah, you guys get the picture that I'm painting. It's about responsibility, and that is what Super Pink Moon in the month of April is going to teach us most about. Through seeing these stories of polarity, through being introduced to a crossroads, through witnessing what other people are going through that's really difficult, we hopefully remap ourselves and re-implement our lifestyles or philosophies. It's so philosophical, and this video is only philosophical. I'm not telling anybody what they should or shouldn't do or what is the scientific fact behind anything. That's not what I do. This is just a chat, an opinion, a basis of opinions and philosophies about what we're going through. So once we can philosophize around the idea of consuming appropriately, I think that we will do a lot better. And I think that many of us are already totally there. Okay. One other different topic that I wanted to talk on before we finish this video is the re-identification of relationships. So certain relationships during this month and during this moon are going to be re-encountered, possibly, but especially like refiled into your mind. So if you had a traumatic breakup, or if you had a traumatic falling out, or disorientation, disconnection from somebody else, that's probably going to get a new tag or a new opinion, perhaps in both people. So again, don't be surprised if someone from your past comes back in. So much more time to be thinking about ourselves, to be doing shadow work, to be thinking about our own pasts is leading a lot of people to want to mend bridges or to confront things too. Some people do have revenge in their hearts. Some people do have anger in their hearts about those things still. That can come up too. So you want to be prepared, and I'm just giving you a little bit of a preparation for that, is you want to be prepared to face a showing of love or a showing of angst or anger too from people from the past. It could come in, and for some people it might even be indifferent, like their thoughts are just dominated by somebody else or dominated by that other person. It's 7th house energy, it's Libra. It's not even about the self, it's only about the self-identification through the lens of another, and that's the energy that we're being put in. So we are really, and this is really neat actually, Saturn in Aquarius, Super Pink Moon in Libra, Venus in Gemini as well. We've got some interesting trines between air energy that's just kind of waking us up and showing us some plain and simple truths about who we were, how we live, what we required to live, what we were willing to give in order to have certain surroundings. And it's not about even the emotional connotation or the emotional connection to those things. It's just about realizing the totality of it and sort of accepting it. Really, one of the best practices right now is release and acceptance. We've got to be able to accept how far things came and be able to accept the past for what it is too, without getting too emotional about things. Because an air trine like this, Venus, Moon, Saturn in air signs, it's like this isn't any longer about emotional retribution or about emotional fulfillment even. This is just about actually taking the debt down, the emotional debt down. So releasing these old emotional debts, releasing them so that you don't have to keep expanding energy, because that's another reason why we have to consume so much as humans. We get a lot of energy invested into emotional things that we may and may not even be thinking about. And that creates an insatiability. Again, if we're binging food, binging alcohol, whatever, binging shopping, it's because there's an emotional debt outstanding. And these are huge. These surpass the idea of money. What could be considered millions of dollars is maybe an emotional debt for one bad experience for people. Emotions, and it's like a liquidity thing. Anyway, again, another video for another day. And this has to, over a long period of time, if we can't let go, be recompensed elsewhere. So we've got to eat a lot or spend a lot to start to pay down an emotional debt. That's why we have addictive cycles and addictive tendencies as people. So that is a blessing of this time. And that's what I'm going to leave this video on, is the blessing of being able to settle those emotional debts, relinquishing them, and just becoming more accepting of where we're at and what we want to do, because it's hopeful. It's hopeful, it's faithful, it's possible, it's plausible to find ourselves on much more rewarding and authentic paths coming into this month. So anyway, everyone, I so hope that you've enjoyed this video. It's been a fun stream of consciousness. Again, none of these opinions that I've expressed in this video are scientific or advice for any type of medical anything. You know, it's all for entertainment, all for, you know, these are important disclaimers during this time. It absolutely is just my philosophical opinion about what's going on. And anyway, I hope that you enjoyed it. And yeah, I have a Patreon page if you guys would like to check that out. I'm doing new tea chats every Saturday. So tomorrow there will be a new tea chat. We're going to be doing some viewer requests. We're going to be talking more about, being happy, thriving during this time, keeping this like a kind of a lighthearted and healthy experience, being like not so susceptible to the vibration of virus. We're going to talk about that again tomorrow in the tea chat on Patreon. And then I will also have early access to Tuesday's video on Sunday on Patreon. And I'm putting out a lot of content during this time of social distancing. So thank you so much for your support. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to thumbs up this video and share it with someone who you might think would find it interesting. I also have an ebook called Moon Symbols, an astrological guide to healing your moon. That's another great way to support this channel, is just to pick up my ebook over on Amazon. It's an instant download. Again, you don't have to deal with the mail, all the germs, like you get it immediately on your device. That's what I'm really trying to provide right now, is just all of these seamless ways to communicate without having to come into exposure of any, nasty viruses or anything. And I'm proud to say that every single thing that I offer in my business is completely void of physical contact. So there are a lot of things that I offer here. So you should check it out. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. All of that will be linked below. And again, this is a super pink moon in Libra. So why not check out my ebook Moon Symbols? It's a great sort of book that I put together over about a period of 8 months last year, when I was working on emotional healing, and when I was sitting with every single moon sign and talking to people of every single moon sign and understanding what they were doing to get better, and coming to a lot of new insights about the moon. And I talk about moon phases: new moon, full moon, waning moon, waxing moon, all of that. And I talk about what it is to be born under those moon signs, how to work with people in your life who have those moon signs or moon phases. And it was a big honor to finally complete that and put that up. So that's linked below in the description box. And if you guys get the chance to pick it up, that would be a wonderful way to not only get a lot of emotional content for you to check out yourself, but also a way to support these efforts of mine here. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you're staying safe and sound, and I hope you're feeling well, and enjoy this moon. It's going to be a beautiful moon. So April 7th, you should try to maybe spend some time outside at nighttime. Even the full week of like April 5th to like April 11th, it's just going to be beautiful nights, okay? Beautiful, beautiful nocturnal experiences for people. Congratulations are in order for some people. Some people are really, really letting go of so much incredible things. So congratulations if you're there. Congratulations to everyone who is finally sort of seeing what they're meant for, what their soul's path looks like, that confrontation with destiny we've been talking about. And stay safe, stay humble, stay loving of other people. And let's get through this, guys. I believe in us. I'll be talking to everyone soon. Much love. Bye.